Okay, so today we're going to talk about horizontal portals. Now, a lot of you will say, why is horizontal portals being talked about when we're talking about the composable Sitecore solutions? And I want to step back to the origins of horizontal portals. So, if you remember in 2016 and 2017, before the idea of DXP was coined by Gartner, we had two different Gartner Magic Quadrants. One was for Web CMS, where Adobe, Sitecore, API Server, and Acquia were kind of the leaders. And then we had horizontal portals where IBM, Liferay were the leaders there. As time went on, horizontal portals actually changed to DXP, and WCM or WCMS became obsolete, and it became one single Gartner Magic Quadrant that had both of them there, which was the DXP. And if you look at the first DXP Gartner Magic Quadrant, it got Sitecore and Adobe from the Web CMS and IBM and Liferay from the horizontal portal, and these became the leaders of the XP. And there is a really important reason why that is, because if you think about it, horizontal portals are meant or were meant to be an integration platform where you can create a portal to integrate other systems within it through widgets or applets or whatever you want to call it. And each company named it something different. And WebCMS was very focused on how do you create this experience uh, for people? Like, how do you make sure that the experience for customers is great? So it's two coins of the same concept ultimately, that to create a great experience for a portal, you need to have great web experience, but you also need to have these integration points. But of course, we all know that DXP didn't really provide what it promised. It didn't really provide these capabilities for a lot of reasons. But before we jump into these reasons, let's see, when do we know that the customer is looking for a horizontal portal? If they're asking to create something like a partner portal or a portal that integrates with their existing system, or they want to be easily able to easily manage creating pages, but at the same time integrate with existing platforms. And because DXPs in theory supported this, but in reality it was usually very, very complex and cost so much. Because if you think about it again, using Sitecore as a monolithic application, I mean Sitecore XP, of course, you could do that, and they had data exchange that connected, in theory, other systems, and you could build your own things using .NET. But usually you need to know Sitecore, you need your whole team to know Sitecore, even people who are just doing integration or know data exchange, which wasn't as well documented as other parts of Sitecore. So that was the first problem. The second problem is you're stuck with this huge mammoth just to use few pieces of it. So people started going to different solutions for that, one of which is headless. So the idea of headless is if you have a headless content management, then you can build whatever you want on your front end. So your front end can be partially composed of content coming from your CMS and content coming from an integration layer, such as microservices or anything else to integrate other systems. So it does bode well to the concept of horizontal portals. The second thing is low code, no code. And in this idea is that with low no code, no code products or vendors, their whole focus was how do you integrate with other systems? And they've created a lot of integration points to enable you to easily create a low code, no code portal. And finally, front end as a service. This is probably the newest of them all, but the whole idea of front end as a service is this huge separation between your front end and your back end. So with that concept in mind, you can really get your front end as a service to connect to your CMS to show content, or to connect to your business applications to show whatever your business application wants to present. So again, it bodes well to the concept of horizontal portals. But each one of these had its own problems. So if you think about headless, yes, it's easier in content management because you're creating content, but it's not WYSIWYG. It empowers developers, but it's a nightmare for marketers. And if you want to integrate with other systems, you have to ask your developer to do that for you. Low code, no code, you're gonna need a headless CMS as well, because low code, no code platforms are not a digital experience platform. They're not a web content management system platform. They're easier for businesses to integrate their existing systems, but again, they're a nightmare for marketers because they work well for the business users who own that portal, but marketers who want to be able to market across the board or be able to utilize their personalization and A/B testing and so on, we're not able to do that with most low code, no code platforms. Finally, front end as a service, as I said, you can build it on a low code, no code platform so that you can get the best of both worlds, where you use your low code, no code for the integration, and then you use your front end as a service for your connecting to your web CMS as well as to other applications. But and the whole idea of front end as service is, once you create these micro front ends, you want to be able to compose a page using some kind of WYSIWYG experience from them. But they're very early stages still, most front end as service platforms. And two, most of them still don't have the full capabilities we've been accustomed to from DXPs or from low code, no code platforms. So, what's the solution for all this? I think the best solution is creating a composable digital experience, because when you start thinking about composition, you can start composing your solution from headless and low code, no code, or from digital experience and low code, no code, or whatever way you see best fits based on your requirements. Let's see how that works with the new Sitecore positioning. So the first option is using XM Cloud with Sitecore Search for searching, CDP and personalize if you want to go with more advanced personalization, and of course use Connect as your API gateway to connect to your other systems. That's an option. With that option, you're going to need to think about a couple of other things. Do I need a low code, no code platform for building these app integrations, or is Connect enough for me? Two, you're going to need to do some front end authentication. You're going to need to create your own front end authentication provider and a middleware for securing your content. Because right now, this content, the XM Cloud content, is on the edge. So it's cached on the edge, it's not secured in any way. So you're going to need to manage that middleware by securing first all the requests, your Graph API requests that are coming. They are using an API key. You're going to need to create a middleware to secure that. And you're going to need to manage the authorization either on the edge, or you're going to put a layer before the edge to handle that for you. You have all that ability because ultimately you own the content delivery. The front end is all owned by you. It's no longer part of the CMS. The CMS stops where your GraphQL or your REST APIs respond back. That's all it does. After that, it's all up to you. It's all on you. The second option, of course, is go headless. So we'd use something like Content Hub 1 or Content Hub Operations. And again, we can utilize Connect if we want to. If not, we can build our own experiences, of course. But with this scenario, it's really like the headless discussion we were just talking about. You'd need to create a front end. You'd probably need a low code, no code platform as well to build all this. And finally, we may think of using, again, a low code, no code front end authentication, but using Sitecore 10.3. What this will give you extra is you can start thinking of using a partially monolithic part using XM 10.3 with your cloud features when you need them. And that might be a faster solution just because you have a CD and you have .NET. But again, it does not solve for all the problems we talked about in these monolithic applications. So I think it really will depend on your needs. It's not one size fits all. Sitecore does have a potential, I think, moving forward as they start taking into consideration portal scenarios and how to really cater for authorization and authentication, especially for the CD and for the content going into and the edge and being deployed to the edge. That's when it's going to be super useful. Right now, I think there is a lot of things you're going to need to handle yourself. You can, because you have the full control over the front end, but there is a lot of work that you're going to have to do yourself. And when we talk about things like total experience, this is where the new cloud solution needs some work to cater for it, and we're going to talk about this in one of the upcoming sessions.